And
Rooted in the now. Presence changes everything. Tonight, we dive into how living fully in the moment, not stuck in the past, not fearing the future, can heal your life, build stronger relationships, and bring the peace you've been chasing. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Justin Burt. I'm your host, and this is my lovely co-host,
Letty Zito.
Let's go.
Hello,
Welcome in,
everyone.
everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you guys for being here with us. You could be anywhere in the universe, but you're here on the planet Earth with us.
With us.
Welcome in. So, life racing past us. Let's slow it down together.
Slow it down.
Find our peace in the right now. This is going to be an amazing topic, I feel. There's lots to dive into and unpack here, and we're glad to have you guys here with us. How you feeling, Letty?
I feel fantastic.
Yeah?
How about you?
Great. I'm glad to be alive.
We took that little nap, and I think that made a world of difference.
Right, yes, I do.
I feel like, I don't know, I'm getting sidetracked. I have this little piece of hair. I do my own hair, so I don't have somebody coming in here doing it for me.
Right.
My own makeup. You're welcome. Anyways, this is a really good topic.
Yeah, it is too.
The presence of now, staying in the now, being in the moment. You know, I don't know about you, Justin. You seem like somebody who stayed in the moment a lot. I just was on autopilot for most of my life. For me, it seems like I was punishing myself, or I didn't allow myself to feel the present moment. I was always chasing that next thing, whether it was that next high substance, or, you know, something on the job, or, a goal. I never allowed myself to really enjoy that moment or celebrate that moment. And today it's a much different story, right? It's enjoying those little things, like literally when I'm in the grocery store, stopping to smell the flowers, because I am just so grateful for another opportunity to take a breath, to have life and be able to do it with so much enthusiasm and love and care. And it's a practice, and like we say all the time, right? I'm not perfect,
right?
But I am progressing, and that for me is what counts. As long as I am practicing how to react differently, or not react, and respond differently, or not respond in the now, just keeping the focus on right now. I can't even do anything about what we just said a minute ago. It's literally, that's the type of focus I want to have about staying in the now. What about for you, Justin? How do you stay in the now?
Well, so being present, your presence is a gift. This is how I feel. If there was something that came about yesterday that I was upset about, I literally wake up, and it's not that I forget anything, but it's one of the things where I can, stir up over it, and I can, get upset and still be mad, or on the other side of it, I could be happy and But for me, right now is the most important thing, because it's kind of cliche, but the past is the past, and the future hasn't even come yet. So I don't know if I'm going to have a heart attack and die by tomorrow. So I think the most important time is right now. And so being in the moment, making sure that I'm living for right now. It's great to have plans. It's great to have goals. And it's also great to reflect. But right now is literally the one thing that matters. If you're playing in, say, a video game, and it would say GTA. Okay, I know a lot of us don't play video games. I don't need it. My son does. But if you're playing a video game, and the only thing that matters inside that game is the road you're on right now, and the pixels that you can see, all of the programming that's in that game, everything that's behind there that has been built, the roads that are there that you can turn on. The only thing that matters is that very screen right there, before you turn left, before you turn right. The only thing that possibly matter is right there. You know what I mean? We know everything's in the background. We know that there's a world. We know there's a universe. We know, but really, the only thing that we can take in the information that we can process is there, happening right now. So for me, I think it's important just to stay in the right now, and to have future goals, and to also reflect. But for me, I think right now is the most important time of my life, because I'm here, I'm present, and everything that is happening right now is relevant. So that's how I feel about having things that are happening right now are the most important to me in my life. So I'm proud to be, clean and sober, and I'm kicking habits and being able to move forward in my life. I'm a great father, a great dad. I'm a great man. I can work on a lot of things as far as like me and Letty's relationship. There's a lot of things that I can do better, and we're working on. I'm not just working on myself. I'm working on things to better our family, and I'm goal oriented. You know what I mean? I mean, being present and in the now is very important to me, and those are the things that keep me going steady. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, thanks. And
Yeah.
so okay, so worry, fear steals the now's power. So it's like if you're worrying, and it can really steal the presence moment. So it's important to stay in the present. It's important to understand, like, again, you're not promised tomorrow. Yesterday, you can't go back and change it. We all know that. We all know that it's impossible. You're not going to be able to change the past. You can't. But what you can do is focus on the future, so you don't have those moments where you have regret, or you're wondering why or how come or what I could have, should have, would have done. Let's focus on what you've learned and exercise that to being something that you are able to move for tomorrow. I feel like we've grown so much in the past year, let alone a few months. I mean, we've grown so much, and I'm excited to be fully present. And not having to run to substance or alcohol or food or anything for that matter that I've done in the past, that I'm able to sit with whatever it is that I'm doing or going through and be able to be present with it. And it seems like that's the path for me to be able to grow and be strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel you on that. For me, I think it's not just being, present with like the good stuff that's going on, but I've had to learn to be present with the feelings that, that we label as negative or scary or emotional, depressive, as they come up in real time, sit with them and identify them, but not get stuck there. Because I would get stuck there. I would replay things in my mind over and over again, because it was a way for me to protect myself, or that's what I told myself, right? If I remember this, when it comes up again, the situation or something that even looks like it, then I can protect myself. I won't get hurt. But that was the furthest thing from the truth. It was actually sitting with those, shadow parts of myself that I didn't want anyone else to see. I get angry, I get upset, I can yell, I can cuss, and I can replay scenarios over and over in my head. And so being in the present moment means for me, remembering where I'm at in my body, what that feels like, where my feet are at, what my mind is thinking or feeling, and not getting lost in the sauce of what happened 10 years ago or even yesterday. I've had to really tell myself I'm not experiencing that anymore. And even though this situation looks like a situation I had before, what would happen if we just kind of let it play out? Maybe you're safe now. You're not that little girl who didn't have a choice. For me, what goes on in my mind, I am learning to, like I said, be in the moment, but be the witness of my own life, because I can observe myself. So I feel like there's this ping pong match that goes on in my head, where I feel like it's my younger self with my teenage self. And then I just kind of sit back and go like, wow, that's really interesting. Why are you feeling that? Or, how can I help you through that now,
Right.
today? So that's kind of what, works for me.
Detach with love and let go, stay at peace. Let love be the thing that that steers you to the things that you want. You know what I mean? It's simple as just waking up and being grateful. For me, it's having the attitude of gratitude, and really being thankful for having my breath and having the things that I'm able to function with. I was getting ready for work today, and I was thinking how lucky I am to be here and alive. Like, there's so many billions and trillions of people that haven't made it. You know what I mean? How many people who aren't here or that have been here and left, that I'm alive. I've got everything working in my body. My mind works. I feel like I'm pretty normal, so to speak, in a sense, I guess, sane,
Right.
and I have my head on right. You know what I mean? I'm making moves in my life that are going to hopefully impact my great grandkids, and so that's really what I want. And I don't want to be, what do I care? I'm not going to be alive. I want to focus on the future, and the future is like right now. The future is right now, being present in the moment. What can I do to better my future so that my kids are going to be prepared for what's to come? You know what I mean? You can't. I don't know what the future holds, but I can at least have a say in what I would like to see for the future, what I hope to see. But right now is what matters. So I'm in the moment right now, and the moment for me is staying consistent and showing up and enjoying life, being happy. Like life is life, and like stress is seems to be everywhere, but we don't have to stress. You know what I mean? Just think about it. If we did not want to stress over a car payment, we wouldn't have to have a car. Do we need electricity? No. Do we need a house? No. But we're meant to believe that we do. We're meant to believe that these things are necessities. And again, this could be controversial. Some people might think, I'm crazy, but no, there's 5 essential things that we need, and it's love. It's probably the first and foremost. I mean, outside of air, because you need to be able to breathe. It's probably the first thing you need to live.
Right.
You need water, you need food, and these are the basic essentials that we need to live. Shelter, and you have to have love. You have to have love. There's a study done, and they remember. I believe I told you that there's they took some brand newborn babies, and they gave them everything they needed, everything except nurturing love. They didn't give them a mother's love. Like when they were breastfeeding or holding them or singing to them, and these babies shriveled up and died. And I wish I had the actual information to share with you guys, which I should have had it prepared. But the point is that without love, and I felt this before in my life, I felt alone before, to where I was losing my sanity. I was locked away, and I was like, somebody just tell me you hate me. Hating me is better than hate is a kind of a love, if you ask me. I mean, it's at least somebody's feeling some kind of emotion toward you. You know what I mean? So for me, like being present right now is I'm so excited and so happy to be free in my mind, free spiritually, free from being imprisoned. And there's a lot of things to be said about being present. Like right now is so important, because again, we don't know if we're gonna make it to tomorrow. We don't. An asteroid could come down, hit us, boom, we'd be gone. So many things can happen. But I'm focused on right now, being in the moment and being happy. I'm extremely happy. I do. I walk around with a positive attitude by choice. I wake up in a good mood by choice. You know what I mean? Right? I mean, Letty sees it. I do. I'm positive. But don't get me wrong. I'm human too. They say in what is it, Matthew's book in the Bible, Jesus turned over that table, and he was upset that they were selling his birds and the animals and things, and Jesus was a man too. So I'm working on how to better myself, as far as like being a better mate to my lady, being a better father to my son, being a better even to myself, because I'm not perfect. Sometimes I'm like, dang man, why would you do that? Sometimes I say these things to myself, like, what are you thinking, bro? Like, what I mean? But even those can be detrimental. Those can be harmful. When you think about it, I mean, it can be great to reflect, like I said, but to me, it's like, I want to be able to reflect in a positive way. And like Letty says, not everything's positive Paul or positive Polly, or, but I can make the effort to make it as close to positive as I can get with whatever it is I'm doing. And I like that. I'm okay with that. What I mean? I am. I'll turn a dark day into a bright, I'll find the light in the darkness. That's for sure.
I mean, I think that's kind of how we're built. We are drawn to the light, even in our darkest moments. I know for me, being in that dark closet, literally locked in the prison of my own mind, and trying to find a present moment there. I had isolated myself from everyone, right, because of guilt and shame and embarrassment, and just wanting to do what I wanted to do. And we talked about detaching from the outcomes. When we have expectations of things, or we want God to answer us in a certain way, and if we have an expectation, or we have it set in our mind that this is how it should go, this is how I see it going, and rarely for me has it gone exactly as I planned it. And I didn't know how to respond to that when it would happen. But today I'm able to say, um, not have such a rigid expectation or think it's got to be this way. I can make my plans. I can hope for the best and be open to it going however it needs to go, and not falling apart if it doesn't go the way that I think it should go. And I would catastrophize a lot, which wasn't good. It kept me from staying in the present moment. I was
Right.
always like, oh my God, what if this happens? What if that happens? And rarely did it. There were times when it did, but, I got through it, and we do get through it. For a lot of us, pain, right, is a motivating factor. It pushes us into action. And if we would understand that that pain is just a lesson that wants to pass through us to teach us what it needs to teach us so we can level up and move, elevate our lives, move forward. Life is full of beautiful lessons if we choose to see it that way. And I do choose to see it that way. Everything that, I have put myself through, or, even at the hands of other people, has made me resilient and strong and able to face anything that comes my way today in the now.
Right. Yeah.
And what for you, being in the now also means being grounded. And so what does that look like for you? How do you ground yourself on the day to day?
So for me, like breathing is important. It is extremely important. I just recently found out that every single, like any kind of disease that you can think of that you can have is directly related to lack of oxygen in your cells. So breathing is very, very important.
Weren't we just talking about this? What did I say about that? It's like when you stress, right? When you stress, because you said every cell in your body. Can you say that again? What you just said?
Oh, so yeah, every
Out.
disease that you can think of that man has been able to, not been able to, but has faced, has been in one form or another due from the lack of oxygen to the cells.
Okay. And then I had said when we talked about it earlier that I could see that because when you stress, I've noticed, because I've been more aware and paying attention, and I know I did it a lot in my life, but when you're stressed out, you tend to hold your breath. So you're not getting as much oxygen. But when you're taking intentional breaths, you're allowing that energy, right, to flow into and out of you. It's an exchange of energy. And I find that really helpful. So, I that's what being in the present moment is for me, is, it's assessing, like, where am I at? Am I breathing? It's not simple. Right? It doesn't have to be complicated. It is that simple. Am I breathing? Am I taking those breaths?
Right. Yeah.
And there's so many ways to breathe. There's
dragon breaths, which is like,
yeah.
You plug one.
And then there's, really heavy breathing.
That was cool.
Anyways, was that cool?
That
You
was
like
cool.
that?
Like a heartbeat.
We're just trying to be practical here.
Right.
And I find that movement. Do you remember that quote about energy it's not destroyed?
Oh, you cannot. Energy was here from the very big boom, right? And so at the creation of the universe, energy was all abundant. You're not going to make it. You're not going to destroy it. Yeah, there's energies. You're not going to make energy. It's already here. That's a scientific fact.
Does anybody know which one I am referring to? I thought I wrote it down here in my notes.
We got somebody.
It's neither created nor destroyed.
We got. Is anybody? Can you guys hear us good? I just want to make sure you guys can hear us good. Mic check.
How do we sound? Microphone check.
But yeah, so simple practices would be like, to be able to breathe. Make sure you're breathing well. Make sure your breathing is like getting the most oxygen to your body. It's 34% is oxygen levels that we should be breathing in. But in fact, 12% is what a lot of people are getting. If you live in the city and you live in like a smogged community or with like a lot of, traffic and things like that, like some people are only getting about 12% oxygen to their blood, and we're supposed to be having about 34.5% oxygen at any given time as humans going through our body, and so, but if you're in a hyperbaric chamber, you're getting 100% oxygen, because what it does, it pressurizes that room. In a hyperbaric chamber, this is 100% oxygen, and so that, like, it goes straight to the plasma. It doesn't even have to go to your, through your blood system. It goes straight to your plasma. This oxygen goes straight to your plasma. So if you guys ever get a chance to do a hyperbaric chamber, get in one. They can be pricey, but it's worth it. And so having, the oxygen, like making sure